forest, you can see it here.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Well, we didn't have many people in there, but
And you don't know what you're at least not in advance.
that's right. Well, there was a lot, but I did.
I'll call a meeting to order, have roll call.
John?
Here.
Rodney? Mike?
Here.
Rose? Here. All present.
Verification of posting.
Town Hall, Port, South Fire Station, and emails were sent.
Review and approve the minutes of the July meeting.
Chairman John Carter called the Town of Bridgeport general meeting to order at 6:57 p.m. Those present upon roll call, Arnold, Fischler, Steiner, Boots, Trouch, Smirchna. Constituents from the town were also present. Postings were verified as being posted at the port, town hall, rural fire station, and the Clear Press and radio station were notified. Motion to approve June 2013 minutes by Steiner, second by Fischler, all ayes, motion carried. Motion by Steiner to approve treasurer's report, second by Fischler, all yes, motion carried. Rock on the River, security improved, Boyd Road, state operation, will be using Utopia for exit at Country on the River. Cleanup completed on Sunday and should be safe for Country on the River. Shuttle buses ran without problems, great preview to prepare for larger crowds. Memorial Hospital, Skid presented some information. FFA clear zone easement allows no access for entrance road directly onto Highway 18. Waterline easement moved, change a second line, so no interruption in sanitary district service for town. Questions by hospital and town attorneys as to ownership. Selch Road, north-south of Nathan Plaza, requesting access for use by hospital. Travis Kramer, Vineyard Road estimate. After discussion, motion by Steiner to ask hospital for $200,000 plus incorporate entrance costs at their expense. Second by Fischler. All yes, motion carried. Alcazalca Reclamation Plan on Benefit Quarry. Financial assurance, Central State Bank. Notice to issue letter of credit irrevocable. Current, future, and use will be completed, updated by county. Active acreage 5 includes access roads. Nate Chaka, Plan Commission recommends zoning change from ag to residential for 6 acres. Motion to approve zoning change by Steiner, second by Fischler. All yes, motion carried. Operator's license application, Joe Morfitz. Steiner made a motion to approve, second by Fischler. All yes, motion carried. Troy Kramer, flood damage, ditch not clean, washed over road. Town board will physically view and discuss. Motion to approve bills is presented by Fischler, second by Steiner. All yes, motion carried. Motion to adjourn by Steiner, second by Fischler. Meeting adjourned 8:15 p.m.
I'll second it.
Motion made second. Approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Treasurer report.
Checking account balance is $141,661.64. All the checks are cleared. The savings balance is $63,289.94 with interest of $46.32. The principal group remains the same as $10,020. Mobile Homes, Kramer's Court has a balance of $8,710.40, and the Hillview tax account balance is $2,223.36.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report. Second.
Motion made second. Approve the attorney's report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. We're going to jump down to Country on the River. This long sheriff requested me meeting to go to. So, Scotty, you want to start it? Or sheriff, or who wants to start?
Go ahead.
I guess I can start it. I think everything went well. We had no real traffic issues. No real issues outside the grounds, obviously. I haven't heard of any, none that were called into our department anyway, so I just think everything went really well, especially compared to last year.
How's the ability to be able to change the underage drinking? Is there a way to be able to make this any function like that? It's going to happen.
It's going to happen anywhere.
As long as you can control it inside there.
And I asked this question. I believe everybody that we got were campers, so it's not like they were kids that were leaving the grounds or anything.
Going out on the highway.
Okay.
Or anything. Okay.
But when you're talking that amount of people, it's just gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. No?
And they were all 19, or, the 18 to 20-year-olds, so it's not like they were 14, 13-year-old kids doing it. So it's one of those things that is gonna happen.
You got enough people that are able to, if you see any of the younger ones trying to leave the premises in a vehicle, it'll stop them anyway, right?
If we would see them, right?
Okay.
But I mean, it happens, unfortunately every day.
Sure.
Throughout the
Mm-hmm.
county, probably,
Not
I mean,
only
there's,
here,
yeah.
either. It's an ongoing problem all over, not just here.
One of the other issues that we tried to guarantee would not happen, and did happen, was cell service. And from the information I received from Scotty is that we have Verizon and US Cellular that were planning on coming in with a repeater or booster or whatever they call them. And the Friday before the event, they both canceled. Because they're private entities, we can't force them to bring anything in. And naturally, our cell service got very sketchy real quick. We're still going to pursue that, still going to work on that, but again, because they're a private, we can't really force them to do anything. So I apologize for that, but really the county or the Shecklers really had no control over that.
Right.
But we will continue to
Press
try
upon
and
them.
press upon them, and if individuals, one of their biggest things is we don't get enough complaints. So if the individuals that just call in and complain, can't hurt. But that seemed to be our biggest issue. The idea with traffic, using Utopia, using the parking lot, the Shecklers did such a fantastic job with moving campers through that we didn't have to use either one of them. Basically, we started to, and then it just wasn't needed. So if they do it again and have a bigger crowd, we still got 2/3 of our plan that we can go to keep traffic moving on 18. So it's looking real good. They've done an excellent job. The cooperation with the neighbors, with the sheriff's department, with the highway department, everybody's working together to make this thing go.
I think we'd like to keep that kind of in plan, the Utopia type thing next year in case we do need to use that,
Right,
just so
right.
we are, so we would like to keep that in there, that way, next year we move forward, at least we do have that as an option, if we do need to open that up and use that as an exit.
Yep.
But hopefully, with the tweaks that we made this year and next year, that we don't need that at all, but like I said.
Quick question, how many is Scotty this year from last year? You're up, down?
Different wise,
Yeah,
about 5,000 difference.
That's
down.
it?
Yep.
okay.
So, it was down a little bit, but I don't think that 5,000 made a difference, a huge difference,
Right.
Like I said, that's why I like to keep that Utopia open, that way in case that does make that big of a difference, that we still have that. But, the crowd is still there,
We still want to make this an every year occurrence with you too, after it's done.
Yep.
Still tweak it, see if there's any
Yeah,
problem with
absolutely.
it. Same keeping with Roger and Dale on it, so we make sure everything stays that way. For the protection of everybody, you as well as the rest of them.
Are you guys receiving any complaints?
No?
I'd asked the fire chief and EMS to be here if they had any
No?
concerns that they wanted to address, and John must got tied up because he told me to be here, but
No, they're cleaning.
they didn't have anything that
No big one.
caused any issues.
No?
And you always got something, and you got to deal with it as you go.
Right.
But if you guys haven't heard anything, I haven't got any call. I got one call on the cell problem, and that is a problem. It's an issue for us as well, because that's one line of our communications that goes down as well.
Right.
But other than that, we haven't.
I think our shuttles were kind of, we know we had to tweak a few things in the shuttles, that was still, a small issue for us on our part at least. But we know we had to tweak that a little bit. One other thing, as far as time-wise, when they start and when they end.
Yeah, as long as you're respectful of the rest of the neighbors,
Yeah.
stuff like that, then that's the biggest thing. So we don't have a problem with people being in their yards and stuff like that. I never got any complaints. I always tell them, if you got a problem with it, give me the help,
Yeah.
and we can do it that way.
The only thing that could have become an issue, and I don't know if you were aware of it, but I'm sure you were, the guy they were having the parking at the church.
Down by the church.
Yeah, that could have been, that would have had people walking, a lot of people.
Well, that's why I talked to Scott that morning about it. He John and I said, well, ask Dale, we're basically looking for the safety issue of it.
Right.
Like I said, they get out on the highway and something.
Right.
And then what they're gonna do, it's gonna relate back onto you
Oh,
guys.
absolutely.
Yeah, they're having the thing, Shacklers must have let them do it, blah, 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 and it's no entity whatsoever. So I guess if that be any case at all, they're gonna think about even doing it, they, somehow we gotta give them, either they gotta get a permit or something in order to be able to do it.
Yeah, but Mike, on this,
How do they do that?
I made them, we did it, we put the snow fence on that big drop off.
Oh, okay,
Because, I mean, it's, you know, anybody walking on that road over there,
yeah.
you know, it's just, especially don't know the area.
Well, the worst part of all, when that
Fall
turns
off
into
the
a,
damn thing.
when it turns into a 4-lane, you know, and you got the chain link fence right on the
Yeah.
right of way, you know, they ain't gonna, how they gonna get there from there?
Right,
There's no way, you know, so that's what I'm trying to say, if we can discourage that or find out what his real issue is, there's, you know, that kind of a thing, then fine and not make it related to you guys at that point. And I'd probably be the first one to tell you, I'm glad it worked the way it is for you this year, for more than you, for us, because I didn't like the telephone calls before, you know? You know, so I'm telling you, thank you, congratulations on it.
I think it went very well, cleaned up the next day, it looked really good, I thought.
Yeah, good job. No issues on this thing.
Okay, if you hear him, anything, no, those people, let us know.
Here's the donation again back to Bridgeport, $500 that we did last year too.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, guys, really.
But if you guys hear anything, let us know, and then I think we'll plan on, obviously in the spring again, come back with our plan, just so you guys are aware of everything. You know, it'll be pretty close to the same as it was this year, obviously with the event, but we'll still bring that back to you guys. So
You looking to build, you're gonna make sure you let us know prior to that if you do
Yeah.
the stuff, so we can make sure that where it'd be a good place to be, and
Yeah.
make sure where they go and stuff like that.
I had one question, which I don't know, it came up this year, but a lot of locals had wanted, or vendors wanted to bring their campers out on that Tuesday. Not camp, because we don't wanna have to enforce camp, or, you know, law enforcement and
Right,
security
right.
out there. Do you guys have an issue with campers being dropped off on Tuesday out there if nobody camps? I guess our thing is, we don't wanna advertise it that it's out there, because we don't wanna rush on Tuesday, and we don't want people camping there at all. So it'd be one of those things where people could bring their campers out and drop them, you know, like the vending, and, you know, local people if they wanted to, and that might alleviate some of the traffic also
It would.
on
Yeah.
that later days. But like we said, we don't want people camping out there, because we don't wanna have to pay for security and worry about an extra day of stuff out there. But, you know, that
Probably
was
the
the
only
thing
thing,
came up.
yeah, I think probably the only thing we'd be concerned is if it became a
People
traffic
actually say-
problem.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and we have nobody there to control it.
Yeah,
You know, that part, I'd probably say, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't.
Exactly.
yeah.
You
And
don't
we
want
had,
them all upset on a Tuesday before it even starts.
yeah, and we had turned, quite a few people away, because we didn't know what, you know, the feedback was gonna be on that,
Right,
but we just wanted to bring that to your attention, you know, and ask if that was a possibility, because it's not doing us anything, but it's also it might help, you know, alleviate some of that traffic later on in the week, if we can get at least even a couple more of those campers in there on that Tuesday. But like we said, it wouldn't be a camping night, because we don't wanna have to staff that as far as our end at all either. But it might help as far as dropping campers off, so then they can just come back on that Wednesday and Thursday and just start setting our stuff up.
Basically, you're only looking at the ones that are here and.
Exactly, yeah, and that's not, we're not gonna advertise something like that,
Right, no.
but that was this year, when we had quite a few people locally who had asked us, you know, are we able to bring it out so we can beat the rush later on in the week? And we had, I know, honestly, we let a couple of our vendors in there, but we had mainly said no, because we didn't know if that was gonna be all right, you know, because we didn't want it to look like we had another night of camping when they were just dropping their stuff off.
I can't see where it'd be a problem.
Yeah.
I think it'd help. Be a plus for them, whatever.
And why don't we try it?
Okay.
It's
And
a
we'll bring that,
problem.
we'll bring that in the plan, obviously, this spring too, but I just,
Problem with it on a Tuesday, then
Yeah.
it doesn't happen the next year.
Yeah.
It's that
Exactly.
simple for it, you know, so.
Bring it back in spring.
Yeah.
yeah,
Sounds good
That's
to
all
me.
an issue, but.
Yeah.
sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Very good.
Okay, thank
Thanks,
you.
Mike.
Thank you,
You
guys.
betcha.
Sorry. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to hospital, utilities and road agreement.
How y'all doing?
Yeah.
Let me give you, here's the vacation and relocation easements drawn up, and I think shared with Todd today
For the water.
for the water.
Water, yeah.
And I think, Linda, I gave you the MOU for the road, and
Yeah, we don't basically got a copy of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
so, 'cause I did not bring that. And then I know there was some desire to make sure that we are using engineering standards and following codes and things like that. So we went and just got kind of a general commercial plumbing permit application form, because you guys don't have a form like that. And we filled that out and addressed that, kind of on the second page, it talks about that we're gonna be using standard engineering oversight and following codes. And so I have that permit, and I brought Pat along with me. It's an application for the permit.
There you go.
And then Bill, our CEO, kind of wrote a letter to you, and I'll read it. It says, British Memorial Hospital has begun construction of the region's new hospital. As all parties are now aware, issues have surfaced regarding permitting for water main ownership. After considering all information about ownership of the water main, British Memorial Hospital believes that the present owner of the water main is the township of Bridgeport. Until such time as the city of Prairie du Chien is able to present legal documentation demonstrating conveyance of ownership of said infrastructure, the hospital believes that it is most appropriate to pursue attaining all utility permits from the township of Bridgeport.
Right.
Per your request, we have completed the development of the new easement of the proposed relocation of the water main on the hospital property. We've also developed a water main easement vacation document for existing line to be executed once the water main is relocated. And Mark Peterson said the standard way to do that is just to modify the existing easement. So he wrote that up. I know he shared it with Todd, and I think Todd has reviewed it as well. British Memorial Hospital also desires to connect our private on-site road to the Bridgeport Road that traverses the west of Nathan Plaza. We have been led to believe this will require a road access permit. As part of the application for this permit, we have prepared the MOU, which I gave to you, Linda, that outlines a plan to assure the affected road is capable of managing any increase to the traffic flows. With the development of these easement documents, we hope the hospital will be able to obtain a utility permit and a road access permit in a timely manner. We look forward to continuing a strong working relationship with you as township leaders. Please let me know if you have any questions or need any additional information. So,
Okay.
I think hopefully we have provided everything that we asked and need to.
Well, Todd reviewed it, and he said he had no problems with it, so.
Questions from Mike?
I think the only conveyance was the road. Anything done into that is 100% your responsibility as far as
I think it
payment.
says that, yeah.
And
The
the MOU
township
says that.
has nothing to do with it as far as cost and upkeep, and or if the traffic increases, Pat, you have to determine, we'll
Absolutely.
determine that at that time, we'll look at it, and we'll make sure if we need a larger base or whatever we have to do to get in, right?
We have tried to be very clear that we're not asking for the township to take on any kind of financial obligation as a result of our project, either for the water main or for the access road. If we're hoping to spend a time on the access road to see if we can get that access off of 1835. But if during that time period where we're trying to get that change, it's determined that we don't have the capacity, we will still, and I believe our MOU suggests that we will, we'll make adjustments necessary to accommodate the traffic,
That's what it
period.
said within the right.
At no cost to the township.
Mhm.
Yeah, the one thing on the permit application, y'all have to know, I've never written a permit application before, but it's a little bit unique for us with the water main on our property, et cetera. In there's one section where it asks for a fee. I've also never ever given the fee to a municipality, so I did put a fee in there, suggested a fee. I have the value of the work. I suggested $5 per 1,000 plus $60 processing fee. It's some numbers I saw from another Wisconsin municipality that I used. If that's an incorrect amount, if it's way too high, feel free to.
No.
So it seemed like it might be perceived as a little presumption on our part, but we just thought we ought to put out there, we recognize there's a fee. And if there's any reason why you say, well, this is what our standard fee would be, and it needs to be changed from what we have here, we were gonna suggest that we could could initial that with you folks, if it can, just, you can't change it, that's,
1108,
it's based on $5 per thousand,
1,000.
plus a $60 processing
Okay.
fee. That's where what I write it for a suggested fee.
And at the bottom of the other page, John, kind of, there's the, on the front, it's the estimate for the cost of the project right there, sorry. front page. So the water main relocation, this may cost $208,035.
Okay. Did you find out how big that pipe is?
They were gonna dig down and take a look at that, I don't know if they've gotten that done yet, because we make sure we wanna have the right size.
One of the things that we've heard more than once was make sure that the materials are compatible and the same that we have. And I want you to read the fine print in that permit application. It talks about a building inspector even in there. You know, John, I told the contractor there not to dig down to even look at that pipe, but I contacted John Boots and having him be there.
Definitely.
And anything we do on that project, I'm not the contractor, so it's easy for me to help you enforce this. They can't cover up, if they put pipe in, they can't cover up without you folks inspecting it.
Inspecting it, right.
And if they do that, John Boots has the authority to say, dig it up, boys, you cover it up. So he has a lot of authority as the inspector to say, that's not the material, we don't have the pipe. We're telling him, look at it, make sure it's the same material before you even bring the material on site.
Okay.
There's no point in bringing a truckload of material on site and then trying to convince all of us it's as good or better. We're saying, well, what material? So I just want to remind you that John Boots has given a lot of authority in that permit application.
So our thought was, since you don't have a utility or permit per se, the little card, that you can take a building permit and just strike building and put utility for the water main relocation, we would just use that.
Or reference that permit application, you'll assign a number to it. We're guessing it could be number 1. But whatever the number is, 2013-1, whatever. You could just reference that plumbing permit application on a building permit. And something we can say it has to be posted on the job site on the trailer, however you all like to have that done.
Okay.
On the premises, yeah.
Does that make sense for everything we've done? We're trying to do everything you've asked us to do, and I hope we've done that.
Yeah. Well, Todd said that he reviewed everything and he felt comfortable with everything that was there, and he said that unless we seen something that we didn't like, why,
Yeah.
everything was okay.
So Mark Peterson drew it up, and according to statute, then the signator for you is Linda, because you're the signator on a document like this according to Mark. And so there's a place for you here, and then we put the date, it's today, we put that, and then this goes back to Mark, and he authenticates it so that it can then be filed.
No, Skip, there's one other thing. That permit application is between the hospital in Bridgeport. Typically, our contractor, Mark and Johnson, would come out and would apply for that permit.
Right.
But with all the accountability concerns that we've had between parties, we thought you would be more comfortable having that accountability be directly back to the hospital and not have a general contractor between us. So that's why you see us as the applicant on that.
Yeah, we don't need another third party stuck into this thing to try and figure out who's right or wrong.
That's what we thought too. So we put, had Bill Sexton, the CEO, be the signer for the application.
Okay. We'll never had this problem, would they not have annexed, right?
We know
Yeah,
that.
we're starting to realize that too, Mike.
Sometimes you don't do the right thing.
Stuff happens, yes. Well, we gotta go for what it is, and we'll figure out who's, when we take over ownership of the water line, you know? Because definitely that's what we're gonna go for.
Sure.
From our standpoint, it could go 2 or 3 years, arguing that point.
Right.
And with the letter, we say we intend to pursue working with you folks not only for the permit for the water main, but also the permit for the service. And John, when we met on the permit, when you issue that, if you want to include a metering fee, we're happy to include that as part of that, saying that we suspect that we'll likely end up getting water service in Bridgeport as we start off.
Right.
And if it ends up being the permanent provider for water, we're perfectly comfortable with that. We have no issue with it. We just don't, we think we're kind of like that ship out there, we have no choice in the matter, we're just floating and
Right.
how's it going to land, but at this point in time, until we see something different, we like to think that the meter's gonna come from Bridgeport, the water service comes, and at some point in the future, it gets resolved one way or the other.
Exactly. Okay.
But there won't be any rush that way. No pressure to say to move forward on that.
So I'm not sure, are you prepared to sign the easement document, have Linda do that tonight? I can take that tomorrow and have.
I think we are.
Okay.
I see no
So-
problem with it, because
Let's put a 14 there.
I'm not ready yet.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Read it over a little bit, if I could. You know, go through this, all this paper,
Okay.
you know.
Should I contact you?
I mean, if I went through this, you know, tonight, and,
Okay.
you know, maybe tomorrow or something.
Okay.
yeah, we'll
Hand it back.
Yeah, Skip call
Just-
me, or
yeah.
call Skip.
Yeah, just call me. It's at the hospital.
Okay.
I don't think I gave my cards away the other day.
And if Skip's in a meeting, John, I'd give you my card, you guys can call me,
Yep.
if I'm in town tomorrow, I'll be along, and,
Yep.
Yeah, right.
we can definitely
no,
go.
fine.
Okay,
All right.
that'll be fine. That'll be fine. And then if you can,
You got it?
get, I guess, the MOU on the road,
I think John's the only one who's signing.
I think so.
We saw that MOU as
It's 306.
probably an exhibit
Okay.
attached to the
1596.
road access permit.
Yeah,
And maybe in that road access permit, you even reference the MOU as an exhibit that's made part of that permit. That ties everything together for you.
Right.
Good, very good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Sounds good, Skip. Thank
All right.
Yeah, we're still planning on continuing the default station, working to have regular communication meetings where we're giving you updates on progress.
Good.
And you all see that we're pouring concrete in foundations down there now. They've moved a bunch of dirt. There's a lot more black dirt down there than we thought. So, I don't know the date of that, but I know we're gonna continue having those just every month, as long as you folks wanna have them.
Yeah.
We're more than happy to just continue having them.
I think so, because that informs the rest of the township, if we can do it that way, so they're not saying, nah, look what they're doing, blah, 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 you know, that kind of a thing. We don't want any hidden things whatsoever, so if that's,
We can
That works
arrange
great.
tours of the
sure,
buildings, for some of those, and
yeah.
just, we want to really improve our status as being good neighbors with you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
No, it's okay.
Thanks, Skip.
See you, Paul.
Good.
See you, Paul.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, we'll go to Patterson's Cat Company, spill plan, fugitive dust control plan, stormwater plan, that done. No public input. This was all approved by the DNR, right?
Within your,
As part of the stormwater permit, yes, the stormwater plan was approved by DNR. As part of the air permit, the fugitive dust control plan was approved by DNR.
Okay.
The spill plan has just been reviewed and internally, it doesn't go anywhere other than to you.
This was reviewed by the planning commission and it was passed, correct?
No, we just did the landscape.
landscape.
We didn't do this stuff.
This is your list.
Oh, okay, okay. So is there any concerns?
Well, first of all, on this segment here, for the no public input, I'd like to see public input, if it was needed. I'd like to put that in the minutes, and I object to that part of it.
Well,
You know.
then we've gotta do the same thing that you can't vote on it.
Say that again?
You can't vote on it, right?
For, no, I'm saying for no
You
public.
have, yeah, but you have to abstain on the vote, because you're part of it,
Part of,
part of it. the ongoing sand reclamation plan that we're doing right now. Yes, no.
I'm not for
Is a sign in your road, in your house, and what's it say?
the sign in my
Yard.
front yard.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know what you want to call it. Everybody's
No,
got an opinion of,
Right.
of something and
Mhm.
that goes on.
And so that's what I'm saying, but into that, that's my only thing to that.
Mhm.
You know,
All I'm asking on this segment, that the no public input should be open for public input. That,
We've had public input, we've listened to it more than once, and
yeah.
it's
But, I mean, to keep,
it's the same stuff over and over and over, it's just,
you know,
if there's new
there
input,
may,
it'd be fine, but there's no new input, it's
there
always
may
the
have
same.
not had any public input, maybe nobody chooses to say anything, but, I mean, at least open it to the people. That's my thought on that.
my only thought into it is the fact that they've all been approved by the DNR, Wisconsin DNR, as far as watching this SWPP, the stormwater, fugitive dust. They're going out, metering wells, checking all the wells, stuff like that, a couple no, some yes. The chloride level in them and stuff like that, they've spent a lot of time looking at the houses, stuff like this. I really don't think that they're in it to make big money and then run. Obviously, yes, we do have a difference of opinion, you know, and I guess that's why we had already approved the reclamation permit and that permit to be able to make them go with it until we found the rest of this had already been approved. So my thought at it are, if you think there's something that has to be said, that's fine to be said, but as far as my concern is, looking at all these papers and the pictures and the topography that they're doing in their spillways that they've got built up, and the distance they're keeping from the Wisconsin River, and there's gonna now stay back from the lower Wisconsin River way, what do you wanna call that? And the things, even with the trees, the bats, the birds, the little snakes and stuff like that, I understand that type of a thing. But to the same point, it's a business thing. They're not coming in to basically, it's not like clear cutting a landscape, you know. And to be truthful with you, then I look at it on the end of the farmer end of it. I think at one of the first meetings I said, well, if you don't want it to happen, then you pay the farmer what he's going to get to have done on his land, you know. So my way of looking at it, they're doing, even with the fugitive dust thing, as far as color, smell, that kind of a thing. And it's going to be, as far as the site itself, every day is going to be managed. And I see there's I think it's Danny Dreesen is going to take over the engineering of it after it gets started, for the inspections. And that'll be taken care of by you people will take care of the cost of that. So
Danny Dresden will take as a second party?
he will be the engineering firm that will come in and test it, check that. So that's kind of the thing, and he will be the one that's getting paid by Madison.
How often does Danny?
Well, that basically as it starts out, I suppose, more so than when it gets to it. And if he has any problem, if you people have any problem, then you get a hold of us or him, and that's how it's taken care of, you know. Because they're definitely right in the thing. If anything is wrong, it's shut down right then and there.
Yep.
There's no ifs, and so they're even with their, as far as the dust and stuff like that, they have to have brooms, water truck, loaders. If anything like that happens, or spillage, it has to come off and be cleaned up right away. Now, within a permit like this that we're looking at, if they do not do it, if they do not take care of it, we have the right to be able to rescind the whole thing, you know. 'Cause
As
that's
far as
it.
suspend the permit or suspend, or?
The mining at that time. If you do not at them times until it's taken care of, there is no more mining. If it's done more than once, then you and I do the same thing. You do the same thing. Well, if you continuously do this, then it's over, you know. But that's just my thought of it. I mean, from where I'm coming from with it.
They've got the right to correct a violation,
Right.
not so much time.
I do have a question for Beth. You know, in the very beginning of this process, when it started last fall, it started out as a 60-year plan. As time went on, it started saying, not 60 years, it started saying life of the mine. Explain the two different terms that we're using here. Are you talking less than 60, or is life of the mine for eternity?
You know, this might be a better question for Dorothy Stroshine, our attorney, but let me see if I can make the difference. The leases are for 60 years, up to 60 years. I understand that, I believe it's the conditional use permit, I might be wrong on this, that does not have an end period, that when it's issued, it's for the life of the mine. I think that could be the difference of that terminology, life of the mine.
Okay. You guys have anything?
Well, to me, it's a commodity, just like farming. If you're gonna make hay, or it's a product of the farm that they're harvesting, it's no different than cutting timber. It's done every day of the week, 24/7. They cut timber year round. We're gonna tell farmers they can't sell their timber? No different than selling hay, corn.
Use your
whatever.
head, John, for Christ's sake.
That's what I thought.
The difference, well, in my case, where I'm at, I listen to that same truck 7 days a week. You know, it's not like a logger comes in, he's in there for a month or two, whatever it takes him, and I'm done for eons. This is something we're gonna be listening to for many years.
And John hit it on the head, it's all supply and demand. If the demand isn't there, they aren't gonna waste their money going out there and mining the land. I mean, I wouldn't be stockpiling this stuff just in a hope that it's gonna do, I'd lay my people off. That'd be how I do until it came back up again, unless I have another place that the commodity is at a demand again. And then I would do it again. So, yeah, and they're smart because they're saying, yes, we're looking at 365, you know, this is how it is. Okay, because they're covering themselves that way. Last year it was 168 days. Is that what I heard in Boscoville? When is something like that was only used?
I believe
Something like that. It's within that. I'm not trying to get it down to 1 or 2 days, but 168 days, that's the amount of mining that will fall out of there in the year. So I think to my way of looking at it, I know it's an inconvenience, okay, to that point. But like I said, I still, to the point, it's a supply demand thing. If we cannot figure out a better way to extract these fossil fuels out of the ground than pumping sand into them, then we're not as good as we think we are. So I don't see them last in the life of the mine or 60 years. That's just me as a, hopefully I'll see it that they don't use it, because I ain't gonna make no another 60 years. So that's what we're trying to get. The fear factor is there, fear factors and everything. But it is just secondhand smoke, it's to everything. I mean, you know, like I said, even, I'm in between 2 sets of dozers and stuff right down where I am now. One from the city, one from the hospital. And these boys are going crazy, but it's progress, it's something in the future. If it wasn't necessary or we didn't have it, then they'd find something else, or they'd find another place to get it from. Is my thought of it. So I really don't, and my other thing is, I'm not gonna say it just for that, I'm just looking at the fact that this is in everything, whether it be a computer chip, whether it be sand for your swimming pool filter, whether it be, you know, anything that's a dust field, it's like mason sand, it's like anything else. The gravel dust that you've got is worse than this dust. But you can say one side on this side, and I can say this on this side. So, looking through all this, looking through and going through what we went before, I can only say, I'm still in agreement, the way I said it before, that I agree with the fact that I agree to letting them do the mining, because looking at the SWPP, the stormwater, the fugitive dust, that I looked, and the DNR's already been through with it, the way they're talking about grading the roads out, you know, the ditch area that you're gonna have between the incoming exterior out of it, 40 feet, you know, the V-groove in it so the water cannot pass out of it. You know, so I think they've taken a lot of time with that, Rod, you're an engineer. You've done a lot of this stuff, okay? So you know, looking at those things, what they've taken to be able to do it. Most of them, like say when John was talking about logging, them guys are gonna come off the road wherever it is, and they're just gonna take a dozer and go do their thing. Obviously, it's not 365 a year. But like I said to Beth, if you're looking at hospitals last year, and I'm almost positive Kyle told me, Kyle Kazelka, it was 168 days that they traveled on it. So, that's all I can say. That's, guys, I mean,
As far as the water, for dust control, where's the water? Where are you getting all the water? Or you got?
We're going to, probably pump it from the river.
Pump it from the river? What kind of permit?
You don't need a permit. We've talked about it with DNR. We'll be able to go to the launch ramp right across the bridge and pump it from there. Now, it's not a huge amount, and we'll also be able to hold water on site in a couple of, you know, plastic reservoir tanks so that the water truck could just plug into the tank without running to the river. Our basins, after rains, we can, you know, take the water out of the basins and put it into the reservoir, you know, pump it back, withdraw it right back into the water truck.
because I think there was a fear that they were gonna put a high volume now, you know. I think or within one of them, it was that same idea, to build some reservoirs, some poly reservoirs, and be able to use them that way. And then reclaim through your system to be able to reclaim what you have to have with it, and then the water would be on site, be able to use for the dust control.
There was never a plan to drill a well, was there?
We have looked, no, not really, we have looked into
Right.
what may or may not be needed, and right now, it appears the easiest, best way is to get it from our basins after a rain event, or to travel about 4 miles to the launch ramp and withdraw water from the river.
Sure.
In one of these, in your, it's in the prevention here part of it. It was talking about monitoring includes site inspections, and it says, if necessary, stormwater samples are taken. Why would it be if necessary? What would signify that, okay, we gotta do a sample here? What would,
I would imagine color, smell, whatever.
Exactly, right.
You know,
If-
whatever would come off of
If
a
there's
machine.
something foaming, if there is something that would lead to you thinking it's not looking correct, you know, smelling right. Or if DNR asks us to, you know, certainly that.
Because it's easily detected, color, smell,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
it also says something about evaluations by the site manager should be taking place during dry times, dry periods. What about, you know, heavy rain events and,
Absolutely. That's standard wording
yeah.
that you see in there. Let me tell you that the site manager will be doing daily inspections and keeping a daily log of weather conditions, precipitation, what's going on site. It's routine to check to make sure that the site structures are functioning on a daily basis, if not more often daily.
And we get a copy of that from time to time, quarterly?
We provide an annual report to the town. And certainly the town would be welcome to come on site and take a look. Now, what I will tell you is, you know, you'll need safety training before you come on site, which we'll be happy to give you.
Yeah, I've never had that one. Well, got it, I know you gotta be updated
Yes.
yearly, but
Right.
I've been done.
Yeah, and Rod's already been through our whole training, a 40-hour training.
Yeah.
Although you guys don't have to do 40-hour training. He's likely to be there a little more often than maybe what you would.
All them records would be reviewed by Dan Gresson.
Right.
He did his inspections and stuff. They gotta be provided. Developed with the DNR.
That site you have down on the, in that Bridgeport section, is that bordered out down in there? There used to be some archaeological thing you got down there. on that property. Is it mentioning that in one of these files?
Oh,
Archaeological and
right.
whatnot you got down there?
There is one site at, toward the lower end. It's the only site that is within our boundaries. The other sites that have been located are within the 500-foot setback from the river. But there is one site, we're not getting close to it.
That's all bordered off and now we exclude from.
Once we get within 250 feet of that site, then we will border it off.
Anybody got anything?
We just need a motion.
I'll make a motion to agree with it.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, and then we'll take an actual vote, rather than just.
That would be good,
Okay.
right? Yep.
Steiner,
Aye.
Fischler,
No.
Yes. Okay, Patterson Sand Company commence mining. After everything's in place, we need a motion to let them commence.
I'll make a motion to let them commence mining.
Want to vote on this, or?
yeah, so
Okay,
we need a second on the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Steiner,
Aye.
Fischler,
No.
Yes. That's it.
I think you're gonna allow the public a
What's next?
minute and a half apiece, is that right?
At the end of the meeting, right? Hopefully.
Yeah, we got bills, yeah.
He's gonna
We're gonna turn it around, yeah. Nate and Lindsay take a certified survey map. The map shows where their house is at, and lot 2's where it's gonna be. It had to be rezoned, it was approved by the planning commission.
And then I was only by the town hall last month.
Yep.
Is your dad gonna build it?
What's that?
Is your dad
I
gonna
don't
build it?
remember.
Lindsay's dad, Jones,
Yeah, I actually think it was.
Randy?
Yep, I think so.
I think so.
Used to be in town.
Yep, I think so.
Can't say private.
Well, with that, oh, you got it
Yeah,
too.
they're very small, but
Oh, there's a bigger one. Great.
He'll send us the original after the county's given their permission to it.
Yes.
So basically, that's all. Approval from the county, then we make that motion in pursuance of the county giving theirs. I'll make it nice.
yeah.
Second it? Okay, motion made and second to approve the certified survey map. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Peterson and Friedel, certified survey map. Land Conservation Committee met yesterday, second Tuesday, they meet.
Okay.
So they've already met on both these surveys.
All right, so we just need to get their composition on it, right?
Yeah, if we got anything to fold, why would we not?
Okay.
No, I can't see.
Make a motion to approve the survey map of Friedel and Peterson to then.
Second. Motion made, second approved, Peterson, Friedel, certified survey map. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Operator's license, Deanna Garvey.
Actually, it's Garvey Tubert. She is a new employee at Walmart. And so she's taken the course.
What's her name?
Deanne Garvey
Oh, okay.
is what she signed here, but on here she's got Tubert, T-E-U-B-E-R-T. But her license is just Garvey.
Okay.
So she just, anyway.
Motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second to approve the operator's license. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Dan and Julie Walker, fireworks permit request.
They are requesting for this Friday possibly because it's their daughter's wedding.
Wedding.
Oh.
Reception, and then maybe Saturday night for the, I don't know, but my thought is maybe we should just give them a continuous one, because they do it
Used to go to your
every once in a while.
4th of July.
Yeah, usually the 4th of July they have a big doings. They didn't this year because of the wedding, but then they did shoot off a few and got stopped, so.
John was upset with that, to start with Johnny Gillis, or,
Yeah.
yeah, you could go without a permit on it.
Yeah.
So it was, I'll blame himself. He's a little more tight with that, not Oscar, or any, or anything like that, so.
Right.
Yeah, I think they make sure they know that they should ask John along with it, you know, we were permit for it, it's just.
Yep.
This-
Burn
This
ban.
year, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying the burn ban would override a permit.
Yes,
Right.
it-
Oh, yeah.
and the permit itself states that they are to let the fire chief know at least 2 days prior to doing any.
Yeah.
There was an incident down there where there was some shotgun shooting through the treetops, I understand.
Where was that?
The
Across the
complainant,
road.
the complainant.
Okay.
Sheriff looked at it, so
Yeah.
it's not in our hands.
All right.
So we need a motion.
Alright.
Motion made second.
Yeah.
To approve the fireworks permit, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. FEMA flood application, action. Denny was gonna be here, but it's changed from the DOT to FEMA, now they're gonna pick up the 75%, 25 from the state, and 12.5 from the town, 12.5 from the state, so. They
All right.
allow them to sign the thing, so. We didn't meet the requirement originally, but they did.
Yeah, it's all with you there.
Yeah.
Monthly amounts.
The governor requested it, and I guess they sent in for Crawford, Grant, Richland.
You're looking at, what do you look at, for less than, what, 5 million, something like that?
7.5,
7.
7.5 or 8, and we were under that, but they still approved. But they don't pay on stuff like they used to. You know, they've cut back on requirements, changed things,
Sure.
but it's still better than,
Yeah. Big pocket.
yeah, we had over 40,000 damages. Every little bit helps, so, yeah.
John, is that just on the roads or with FEMA? The reason I'm asking is, you know what happened at my place? The railroad trestle got blocked.
Right.
Boy, is this public input or what? If I can't do it, can we look back?
Go ahead.
And the railroad trestle got blocked.
Right.
Then the river, or
Yep.
not, the ditch, the water, got backed up. And so is there, and we are planning, I guess for the next meeting I'll have it, but we're gonna plan on filling that field in. But that's not going to keep it from, it's gonna keep it in the water in the ditch till it gets around the corner. But if the railroad trestle backs up,
Right.
that'll back right up into those people.
Yep, you're right.
So, is there anything that, through FEMA, I mean, there was, Rod Salvo lost a car. And LaPointe, he had damage, and I don't know if anybody else did. But is there anything to protect them, or can anything be done through FEMA?
Private landowners.
It won't do anything on private landowners. Well, then what, a private landowner is at the railroad, what's that?
I asked that question when we had the DOT here about that railroad bridge, and Krejci said he'd look into it. But he said he doubted if they'd take responsibility of cleaning to the bridge. So I understand they did clean some, but nothing like it used to be.
What? Yeah, see, the DOT said that they would clean down to the, they come in and cut the brush, that blocked
Blocked it.
the ditch, the bridge.
Yep,
And they left it lay there.
yep.
And so, what do you think happens as soon as you get a bunch of water and a bunch of other brush comes down? Gets in that brush, it starts filling it in with, you can see that big mound of sand going down through there, plus all the cattails.
Yep.
I had offered them a place to go with all the, stuff out of the ditch,
The slugs, yeah.
whatever it is, to get it clean, down to the corner, and I would furnish a dump truck at my expense to help haul it. And they said, well, sounds like a great idea, because what that is doing is backing it up into the gutter ditches at Walmart. That's where the tubes come in from the highway and Walmart. So that would help get that water out of there, but nothing happened.
Correct.
Last year, that was the idea last year, so, and now it's a lot worse, because there is so much sand that got caught in that brush and in those cattails. And, so I don't know, will they clean that ditch out?
Jeremy said he'd look into it.
Well, they're coming back, they got a public, tomorrow night, he may answer that.
5 o'clock.
I mean, I'm accepting everybody's water, I'm not gonna clean the ditch out. Why is that my responsibility? Everybody else dumps their dirt on me,
Yeah.
Came down to
Blowing.
mine, I took and cleaned the ditch out, and I cleaned my shed out 3 times.
You got a clean shed.
Yes, 10 inches of,
I understand.
lost, all
Not
kinds
fun.
of neat stuff in there, yes. But I came out back up to the ditch and cleaned it out. 'Cause I figured by the time I wait for somebody else to do it, and pray that somebody else is gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. So I'm with you in that, Gail, I don't know whether it's gonna be easier by the time you get done trying to beg these entities to do it, for you to get in and try to clean something.
Well, Mike, I'm not going to do it. Let it back up into
Into the other ones,
Walmart,
and
the
then
city,
Yeah.
whatever else. I mean, why should I be expected to do that?
He made the comment that was the sizing of the pipes that was existing was not adequate, they were gonna size them. Ask him that tomorrow night. Down at
Okay.
the fire station,
At the town hall,
fire station.
yeah.
What do you mean, the sizing of the pipes?
That's what he said, them great pipes under the road were not big enough, and he had a lot of excuses.
Where are those pipes at, John?
What's that?
What pipes are we talking about?
The ones that they put under 18?
Oh, okay. Be coming back up the highway?
Yeah.
Yep.
What would that have to do with anything?
I thought that when he said it, but that's what he said.
That's not gonna stop the trees, that's not gonna stop the bushes and stuff from getting.
Well, no, and the other problem I have now, and you can see it very plainly, before they redid the highway out past my place between, who lives there? Oh, Bozak, in old 18, there was a tube that went underneath the highway.
Yeah, there was.
Well, the DOT decided there need to be a tube there anymore, so they blocked it out or took it out, and they put the curb down, so now I'm getting, in the other field, I am getting all the water coming down the highway, and they got the blasted flume that shoots that water right out into my field between Bozak's house and mine.
Yep.
That never used to be there.
Join the crowd, I got the same situation that never used to be there.
Well, I know that. But, I mean,
It's moving.
that's true.
That's what you tell everybody else.
Right, but I think I didn't get this dumped on to me.
That's
I
where you
think
live,
that
Gail. That's where you live. When you live in that part of the country, you gotta expect that kind of thing. When you live at the bottom of a valley, you're gonna get washed. And you gotta take care of it. Don't go crying to the township about it.
You guys still have the Peterson from stories.
Just leave it. I thought I got to.
tomorrow night at the fire station,
Okay.
because Jeremy said he was gonna look into it.
Who said that, John?
Jeremy Craig.
Oh, Krejci. Oh, yeah.
He's in charge of this road.
Okay.
Representing the DOT, he said he'd ask that question, but he doubted if they'd be excited about taking responsibility to get an easement to clean it. I said, well then where's it gonna go? It's gotta back.
Well, they did it before.
I know they did it before.
They did it before, John.
I told them that used to be cleaned on a regular basis,
Yeah.
you know, years ago.
Right.
Clear to the track.
And there was one time, they had the single axle dump trucks, and they took 109, because one side was just about completely blocked. The other side, they could get a dozer in, because it is a double box.
Right,
And there was one side open, the other side you couldn't even crawl through it.
right.
And they cleaned it out, and they had the single axle dump trucks. And I allowed them to take the dirt up to my place and dump it off into a ditch.
Right,
But, man, that was probably 20 years ago.
yep.
And then they also, well, maybe it was more than that, John. And then they also cleaned it at the time that they redid the highway. So they actually did it twice.
That's one that's sent me. Be good to ask them.
John, is there gonna be anything done about the Clanton property? Is it down
Yes, there
below?
is. We've been discussing it with, the DOT, but we're hoping FEMA, we're talking about putting a tube completely through the whole thing, which, it will keep cleaned out. With all the water going through,
What do you mean, John, through the whole thing?
Clear down through
And you
Clanton's.
just back up and you wash the road out,
no.
unless you put an awful big tube down through there.
Well, it'll either be a tube or rock, dig it out, put rock on it, so it's gotta stay in the ditch.
But it kind of blew the rock out.
Well, it wasn't big enough, because there was too much water coming through.
Well, I agree with that.
It just got spread out. and-
The other thing that didn't happen right is the drainage along the road. You know, we all see drainage along the road, they're
Yep.
always constantly cleaning it out. When they put the new tube in and extended out into my property, they bulldozed the dirt up, but they left no place for both sides of that drainage to go. So it washes right down through my old garden.
Yeah,
She must have a
It needs
10-foot
to
hole
go
out there.
somewhere.
too much rain.
Well, it needs to go somewhere. You can't expect it to not have an outlet and not do some damage.
John, how come, just throwing that out there, how come how come they didn't leave that as a, no, I want to use the correct word, and I don't know if it's retention or detention pond. There was a heck of a dip there.
Yep.
How come they didn't leave that there, box, and I thought at one time I seen the tube coming up. And I thought, well, geez, that's gonna be pretty neat, because that tube came, it came from underneath the road, and then it went kind of straight up, or just about,
Right.
And I thought, well, geez, if they leave it up, that whole great big thing could fill in, and then it'd be an overflow. There's no, like back in my subdivision, I got a pond, I shouldn't say a pond, because there's water in it when we get really a bad rain. I got an area that's probably a half acre, probably 6 foot deep, 7 foot deep. And then it's got a tube that comes up about that high. So all that water fills in, and then when it gets to a certain level, then it goes out and goes into the ditch.
Right.
And then there's, down at the bottom, there's smaller holes where that will drain out, so we don't have a mosquito problem.
Right.
I guess, why wasn't that?
Well, Scheckler, originally, the water came into that tube. He
Uh-huh.
moved it up and changed it, and he put a bridge there, a box culvert, and come in from a different angle. They're gonna have to change that, dig that out and make it,
Make a pond,
Make a
why,
pond.
don't make a pond before it gets to Levant.
exactly. Oh,
And I guess, I don't know, I can't did you ever have that problem when I had was there that much water going down through there?
No, You know,
Alright.
he's made half his land drain into that, the other half drains up in the other one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a problem.
There used to be ripples in the ground and it would catch some of it, you know.
right, it was contoured.
It went over the
Right.
fence there. It's a mess.
When
You know, I really think that,
We'll have to bring it up to Scotty and say this is what we gotta do,
Right.
along with what they have some engineering done to be able to make sure it takes care of it.
Yep.
Whether it has to be a concrete box culvert or something like that can totally take care of it and run it down, like you said, then turn it into a retention pond with an overflow on it that will slowly
right,
let it run off, you know?
Yeah. because I was told by the DOT, if you don't, most people don't know it, but the gutter ditch on the on the highway goes directly into my ditch. There's a tube.
Yep.
I got one on one side, two on the other side, that go into the ditch. My subdivision, they made me put in a pond to hold the water. And I said to them, how come you, DOT, didn't have to put in a pond like I did? I wasted half-acre land.
Yep.
Their answer was, the DOT gets away with more than you do. That's what their answer was.
So they're honest. Yep.
And so there's no pond there, that it just goes right directly into the ditch.
Yep. DOT and the DNR gotta approve them retention ponds and.
Yeah.
Well, that'd
I
be
think
the-
there needs to be like a canal lined with big rock for that water to run off. If you run a tube down through it, it's not gonna let
Right.
enough water drain fast enough, it's gonna wash the road out, because that's what happened when the bank caved off. I think it washed through the dirt
did.
under the road.
See, I got the same thing on the farm over there, we got this dam, and it drains an enormous amount of acres up there. And what I did, I got this culvert under, probably 20 feet of dirt, but it comes out and it shallows out to our dam, and then I made this, half screen looking thing to catch the debris.
So, yeah.
That, well, it works and it don't.
Yeah.
Hard rain events, it'll bring the trees and the brush and plug that up instantly, and then it washes over it again.
But
Well,
this
no,
was,
however, it works.
this is the first time in my life that I've ever had water on the highway at my place. Coming down, that comes out of Vineyard or, along the highway, right there in that corner. It was running out right on the road.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
The fire department was out there. So we did get a lot of water in a short period of time.
We did.
I took 8 inches of mud off the vineyard alone, just going up there to try and clear off all the way up to.
Did you?
But they do
Bottom.
that.
You got free dirt?
Yeah,
Mike,
it was.
you got free dirt?
some slimy junk, cold water, just nasty.
But if you come to that meeting, or tomorrow night,
I intend to.
they'll talk about they're gonna redo the ditch that comes on that side of 18 coming up through
Yeah.
there. Clean that
Well,
up.
and I guess I did talk to them, they said that they'd look at the part on the other side between Bozak's and my place, because they know, they can see the water running out of it, right out into my fields.
Yep.
It doesn't stay in the gutter ditch.
Well, that's where the pipe is, it's too high,
Yeah.
they put it a foot higher than it should have been. So,
Okay, Rodney Boardman fence request.
Anyway, I got that tonight. He wasn't able to be here. He's bought that property, it used to be a Frosty property down on Seymour Drive, the last one.
Oh,
in Seymour.
okay,
He
sure.
bought that. And all he wants to do is put up a chain link fence from his corner of his house to the privacy fence behind him, and then from the garage to the
Privacy fence.
Not, and staying away from the lot lines and everything. But I said with our ordinance, I said it had to be approved.
Right.
Chain link fence.
Right. That sounds good to me.
How tall a fence?
I would imagine 4 foot.
Makes sense.
He's got 2 dogs that are gonna be running
Oh,
in and out.
and horses.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll
South Seymour Drive, I see where there's a 25 mile an hour sign and slow children playing. Is there any way we can ever get a sign up that says no through traffic?
Dead end?
Dead end, no through traffic, something. Cause that one guy's still saying how MBC semi is still end up back and all. They go through there thinking it's, they can come through. But you get down to the end, well, you got the road closed sign.
Right.
Or not even road closed signs there anymore. But there is no through traffic, and there's a post already there.
And easy enough to stack it on top of that.
Yeah,
So that decline for
and it'd be up there high enough where the semis will see it.
Yeah.
Thanks to the city, it used to be.
Thanks to us for
Good,
that.
6 feet. Well, we made a motion to approve the forward.
Yeah.
Motion made, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We talked to the county a couple of times about the no through traffic, if there's posts there already, should I just order a sign and?
Dead end.
Yeah.
Dead end.
Yeah.
Yep. Review and approve the bills.
This is how one tax for the same order, sized up, down, again. Actually, it's up from 2000. But otherwise down the other years.
Well, I'm thinking that when you talk about road tax, we're gonna have 2 roads back into it with the hospital.
Yeah.
That increases the road tax, right?
Being from where we stop, and
Yeah, you do it.
that'll be city.
City still
City
works
straight
that way
away.
over there, but the other piece, if they run it 2,
Right.
to the other piece, it would be, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I meant.
Yeah, we don't get the.
Make a motion to approve the bills.
Motion made, approve the bills, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Who knows?
What's that?
Did we get through them?
Public input.
Public input, and we have any?
I'd like to make a couple of points. John said when he approved of the 2 permits that everything was in order. I disagree with that. Everything is not in order because nobody was contacted up along the highway. None of the local residents was contacted around the mine to see if there was a disagreement or they didn't want it. You know, and in your zoning laws, they are there to protect the public. And it seems to me that you guys have turned your nose on a lot of our ordinances when you consider to giving those permits out. Secondly, I feel it's an insult when you don't let the public speak until the last minute and a half, because what you're saying is, hey, we got our own little private group here, we don't want no input until we make our decision. And you know, it's a fallacy, it's what it is. You know, this is not the democratic way. You're supposed to be representatives of the people. And how do you do that? You listen to them. And you can't listen to them after decisions are made, John. You got to listen to them before decisions are made, so you know what we want, not what you want, not what Patterson wants, you know. But you got to do it what the people want, you know, and what's best for them. And I see with the hospital, you're doing a good job and stuff, and you're very, very open with it. But when it comes to mining, you know, what happened to the clarity in the mining? What happened to the openness in the mining? You try to make your meetings fast and quick and get it in there so the public can't say nothing about it, you know. And it's just not the democratic way, John. And I I feel that you should look into that and try to be a little more clear about things and more open about things.
Well, like I said before we started, I said it wasn't redundant, you know, we're not listening to.
Yeah, but John, it doesn't make a difference redundant. The public has a right to do it. And you guys, you have the right and you have a responsibility to sit there and listen to it. What's the difference if it's redundant? It's a democratic way. What about these permits and stuff you want to give to Patterson? You don't think that's redundant to us? Look at all these, we read all these permits and you guys go through it and through it and through it, and then what do? You turn around and give it to them anyhow. Even though we don't want it.
So you're saying the DNR is wrong, the DOT's wrong, everybody's wrong but you. You're right.
I didn't say they weren't wrong. But I'm saying the public needs their input.
We have input.
Yeah, but did you listen to it? You know, if you'd have listened to it, you know, just like when Mike was elected, he said he would listen to the public. He would listen to people if he had a fair amount of signatures. Did he do it? No, you didn't, Mike. You did not do it. And we're still waiting. And that's why you got all the votes that you did, is because we thought you were the best guy and you'd listen to us. Did you listen to us after you were elected? I think you can answer that yourself. I have nothing else to say.
I'd like to comment on that. I think there is just because you had people here talking, by no means was it a majority. The majority of the people were still out there. And they didn't either care, but they weren't here.
That's right.
So they were okay with what you guys, they instilled and believed in our town board to make the right decision.
Okay, then how many petitions did you collect in favor of the mine?
I didn't sign any.
That's right.
I wasn't asked to sign any. Nobody came to me and asked me to sign.
Exactly. That was your majority, Gail. That was your majority.
Well,
How many petitions did you sign against the mine?
I guess I'm not gonna sit here and argue. I think that our town board has, I'm looking at them right now. They try to do their best for the township. I don't think there's a single one up there that doesn't. And I did serve on the town board at a time. And I know what it's like to be on the town board. And yes, you get calls and you get people all worked up about it. But, you know, it goes back to, I think, the silent majority of the people. You might have 50 people here at a meeting and just raise all kind of hell, but there's still probably 400 or 500 people at home that say, we're supporting our town board, we're not gonna come out here.
Well, why aren't they here then?
Pardon?
Why aren't they here? Why don't they sign a petition?
Why don't they have to sign a petition to be for it when they said, we put our trust in the town board to make the right decision?
If everybody.
And I guess, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
If everybody in Bridgeport was against the sand, how come they didn't sign the petition? How come we
Yeah.
only had 250, 60 people? There's 1,000 people in this township.
Yes.
That's a hell of a lot different than 100%.
And I apologize to the town board if I was out of line when I spoke up. I thought it was the line item that you were on that you didn't want any input in.
Absolutely.
I thought we were past that.
We were.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have said anything, but that's how I interpreted it. It was a line item that was no public input in it. Because I've been here to most of the meetings and it was rehashed and rehashed and rehashed.
I have a comment, and maybe I'm all wrong, I don't know, but oftentimes, sitting back here, we can't hear what's going on. It's like you're all talking to one another at a very low voice. Some of the topics that you talk about, I know you guys must have some information on. I don't know what you're talking about. As an audience, allowed to hear the meeting, do I have a right to know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Sure. Sit up here closer.
I didn't think I was on the board.
I thought
Is it okay to do that?
Yeah, you can, as close as you can, and ask, hey, talk up. I thought I had a big enough mouth that
I can hear you pretty good, like John and Linda, I don't have any idea what they're saying when they talk, but, you know, just input.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
I have the same problem back here. At the time when everything important was being said, this place was full, and this is the only chair I had. But I couldn't hear anything. Most
There
of
were
you were
chairs up
talking
here.
about, so why even
All up
talk
here
about
along the way.
it? Those were,
Not everybody can sit up here.
Yeah,
You
at
can
other
sit up here
meetings.
at the end of this bench.
It was at other meetings, I think she's talking
Oh.
about.
I think it'd be a good idea if you get a speaker system going, just like you get on down in Prairie. Then everybody can hear everything that's said.
And half of those council people don't turn their speakers on.
So,
And that's the
the one-
truth, because I watch the council meetings twice a month.
I think we should just alert to it and maybe try to speak up a little bit better. It's-
And it's probably our own fault for not saying, you know, we can't hear you, you gotta speak up.
I wasn't sure if I was allowed to talk.
Like the city, where they could.
but everybody
I don't
will
know if
have
that
a
carries
voice,
sound
you know,
better.
some people's voices carry better.
Yeah.
Like Bedecker carries a lot, and some of the other ones are feeding into the table.
one more thing I got to say too is that you talk about the majority, you know, as a public official, you have a responsibility to represent the majority, not only the majority, but the entire populace of the township. You know, so you gotta consider everybody, John, not just what you consider your 25 or 35 vote majority, because it's not. So, you gotta represent everybody, everybody.
All they can do is try. Can't satisfy everybody.
Like on the mine issue, we tried for it.
Anybody got anything else? Get something off their shirt?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, again. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.